So Devin's just going to describe a use case walkthrough of this model in action.
So essentially what this use case is about, well, it's a fabricated use case that was solidified essentially with our military guys. And generally what we're looking at is two different networks that are completely separated. So this air gap between them, there's no way that they can communicate. We also wanted to make sure that we had, for an operational situation, we wanted to put it in an operational context because there is many different domains in an operation. And the particular domains that we're looking at are cyber, more the UAV or UAS expertise, and also more operational, so more soldiers on the ground. This particular use case goes through a more military operation, so we wanted to look at what could actually affect these UAVs. So this particular use case has 4 different major events where we have spearphishing on the UAS, the corporate network. So an email client could essentially get all the information. It's general open network. We also have a separate network, which is the UAS, so it's quite closed. What we can see is that there's a USB inserted into the corporate network, and that USB gets infected, and then because of human error, that malware ends up getting spread to UAS network. And this is actually detected, and we can respond to that particular attack. So if we go on to the next slide, we can see a more in-depth look at this particular use case. We've designed this diagram, so we've gone from T0 to T6, so these are the different time frames. We've got actions, decisions, and threats. We're looking at the different threats as our major points because for the Ensley model to work, we have to actually have an action to go through into the state of the environment. So if we look at T0 to begin with, we've got a threat to the UK embassy, say in Afghanistan or the current theatre of war. This would get passed to the joint users, so J2 and J3, to create a plan, and then this intelligence is passed to people on the forward operating bases. So up here we have more of the operational, down here we have more cyber threats and actions. So the action on the cyber side is more just general normal operations. We go into T1 and we can see that there's actually an infection on the corporate network. Now, because this is not mission critical, we can deal without emails for a few hours. We don't have to actually send that over to the operations domain. We can just pass it straight up and deal with it within the cyber. But then what we see in T2, due to the human error, is the fact that it's actually passed over to the UAS network as well. So at this point, we actually do have to go through the operational impact into the operations domain. This is where the communication would have to go in for the cross-functional teams. So these generally have to work in a decent collaboration, communication, coordination systems. So at this point, we also wanted to have a look at how we could do a more engineering background into this system as well. So this still works with an engineering system where we have a look here. We can go into the cyber domain and say, right, okay, the UAV's been attacked. So the operations team can then actually go and say, go into a different domain for the engineering, for the UAS or UAV systems. So we can grab in an expert from them systems to be able to have a decent decision and action in their expertise